Shubhamangalam children, this is Hemlata at Little Scholar High School taking up science of class 3. In previous class we have already started with our first lesson, that is living and non-living things, and we have discussed certain points that anything, the thing which has life is considered as a living thing, and we have seen certain points that both breathe and move. That means all living things grow, they breathe and they move. And all these points we do not find in non-living things. Now when we go to the next point related to this living and non-living things topic is living things need food. Living things need food. Why do we need food actually? We need food to carry out our day-to-day activities. We do many work in a whole day. Yes or no children? So to do all the activities we need energy, and from where do we get this energy? From the food. And not only to do different kinds of work, but to for our body growth also, and to live healthy also we need food. That means we need food to grow and to live healthy. Now when we come to the food habits, or when we come how human beings and animals are getting their food. Human beings and animals are getting their food from both plants and animals. That means when we look at our food items, what we are taking in children, we consume different kinds of vegetables, fruits and all. From where we are getting this? This we are getting from the plants. And we also consume some different animal products like egg, milk and meat. And from where we are getting this? This we are getting from the animals. That means we are getting food from both plants and animals. And from where these animals are obtaining food? See, even the animals are also obtaining food from small plants or grass. That we might have seen the cows or goat grazing around. So that means they are obtaining, or these animals are getting food from the plants. And there are certain animals which kills some small animals and get their food. That means we are dependent on, and even the animals are also dependent on both plants and animals. Now when we come to the plants, plants do not take food from outside children, like we are taking food from some other animal or some other plant, but plants do not take food from outside. They prepare their own food, they make their own food, taking the sunlight, the water and minerals from the soil and the air from the surroundings. Means plants have the ability, plants are capable of making their own food using sunlight, water, minerals and air from the atmosphere. And when we come to the same point related to non-living things, non-living things do not need food to live. Okay, children? Now we have moved on to the next point, that is related to feel and respond. What do you understand by feel and what do you understand by respond? For example, you have a pin and by mistake if it touches your skin, you feel a kind of say burning sensation or a kind of pain. Yes or no? That means you are feeling something, you are sensing something which is not comfortable to you. Yes, and immediately when the sharp object is coming in contact with you, you are taking your hand or your leg back. That is the withdrawing your hand or taking your hand back is called as respond. That means all the living things feel and respond to the changes around us. That means we all changing our behavior, responding to the surroundings in which are living. Okay. Now what are the organs which are helping us to feel and respond? The organs are eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. Now we will talk about one of them, each one of them. So eyes, what are eyes? You know that they are used in looking around us, they are the one which make us, gives us the vision. Okay. Now when we look at certain things around us, they look very pleasant to us, they are so certain things which we don't feel like looking at them. We find it that it is not comfortable to our eyes. That means our eyes are also helping us to find the difference between what is good and what is bad, or what is making our eyes to give a pleasant look and which is not giving a pleasant look. That means eyes are also the sense organs which play in the feel and respond operations. Now, ears. When we talk about the ears, again, if we talk about ears in this particular respond and feel thing, you have, for example, a pleasant music which is played in your house. Okay, you feel like listening to that music again and again. But at the same time, if any loud noise is coming outside your house, that it is irritating to our ears, we don't feel like listening to that ears. That means again, ears are also playing a major role to differentiate between a good noise, good music, and a noise. Then, when we move on to the nose, nose is also one of the sense organs we said. How does the nose help us? Yes, it is, we are able to breathe with our nose. That is one of the point we have already discussed yesterday in breathing. Now, nose also plays a major role to find out which is a good smell and which is a bad smell. Okay. Now, that is also a kind of sense organ. Now, when we come to the tongue, tongue, tongue helps us to take the food, to chew the food. That is it. But at the same time, tongue also help us to find out which is a sweet dish, or which is a hot dish, or which is spicy, or which is cool. That means we are able to taste that and say, yes, this is very tasty, or this is not that tasty, or this is very spicy. That means the tongue is also helping us in this mechanism of feel and respond. Now, the last sense organ we are going to talk about is skin. All our body organs are covered with the skin. Yes or no? All our organs are protected with the skin. Now, this skin is protecting us from external high temperatures or rain and all. And this skin is also helping us to sense if anything is hurting us or damaging our cells. So we are, if anyone pinches you, you feel a kind of pain. Yes or no? And immediately what you do, you withdraw your hand. That means it is one of the organ which is able us to feel and to respond. Okay, this is regarding the human beings or animals. Now, when we talk about small insects, insects also sense through certain organs called as antenna. You have seen cockroach. At the tip of the cockroach, you have two needle-like things which are like very sharp. So these are the called as antenna, which helps cockroach to find out the any objects is on their way, or to sense actually what it is surrounded about. Then, when we come about plants, as we said, the plants are also living things, but they do not have any specific sense organs like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, or skin. But still, plants respond. This is happening because of some chemicals which are present in the plants. This you will come to know in higher classes. Okay, but for the time being, you understand that plants also sense external atmosphere, and whenever you keep any potted plant, you can see that some of the branches or stem just try to bend towards the sunlight. That means the plants are responding to the sunlight, and the same thing we do not find in non-living things. Understood, children? Now, next point related to this is reproduce or reproduction. What do you understand by reproduction? Reproduction is nothing but living things give birth of its own kind. Now, what do you understand by living things giving birth of its own kind? Now, a cat is there. A cat will give birth to a kitten only. A dog will give birth to a puppy itself. A human being give birth to a baby. Yes or no? That means of its own kind. Cat to cat, dog to dog, human being to human being. So that is the meaning of the own kind. So reproduction is nothing but giving birth of its own kind. And when we talk about plants, yes, even plants reproduce. How? Plants reproduce through seed and just put it in a pot and just water it and keep it in sunlight. After a few days you find that a small sapling is coming out of it, and after a few days or months it grows into a big individual plant. That means if you are sowing a seed, for example, of a rose plant, a rose seed, a rose plant only will come on. True, children? Then here we are again going to talk about the reproduction related to animals. This we discussed about the human reproduction. Now we are discussed about the plants. Now we are discussing specifically about animals, and animals give birth in two ways. There are two methods of giving birth. Now when we look at these birds, hens and frogs, they lay eggs, and when the egg hatches, a small baby comes out of it. You might have observed that hen, birds, snakes, lizards, all these are the animals which lay eggs, and the young ones comes or hatches out of the egg. But there are few more animals which give birth to the young ones, like the human beings, cows and dogs. They give birth to a new baby. So what is reproduction? Reproduction is nothing but giving birth of its own kind, and it can be of two ways, that is by laying eggs and by giving birth to the young ones. And again we do not find this in non-living things. This is, here we find the multiplication of the organisms, yes or no? But here there is no such kind of thing. Now the last one when we talk here is about lifespan. Now what do you understand by lifespan? Lifespan is nothing but it is a time period, or it is a time, a number of years or number of periods, time period we can say, that from the birth to the death. What is a lifespan? It means it is a time from birth till death. From the time a baby has born, or an animal has born, or an insect has born, from the which has life till the time it is losing its life, that is nothing but the death. Now lifespan can be in hours or it can be in months. Now we have certain insects, how flies and all, which live or which survive only for few hours. But whereas there are certain animals like cows, we ourselves human beings, we live for years and years together, yes or no? That means lifespan is nothing but the time period from birth till death, and it varies from one animal to other animal, or one insect to the other insect. That can be in hours or it can be in months. But again this lifespan or life we do not find in non-living things, because non-living things do not have life. They do not like, until and unless you break them or you damage them, they are just like that. They do not neither multiply nor respond, nor they do not have any specific life period that they will live only for 1 month or 1 day or few years. Nothing of that. Overall what we have to say is, living things need food to grow and live, living things feel and respond, living things reproduce, and living things have certain lifespan. Now when you come to your textbook on page number 15, it is again clearly mentioned about the differences between living things and non-living things. The same points what we have discussed in our class. Okay, and if you look at your last lines of your lesson, children, what does these lines say? It says that we said here that we are dependent on both plants and animals for the food. That means there is a relationship, there is a dependency to get food or to live, both on plants and both on animals. That means both are depending on each other, or we can say interdependent on each other for the life to continue on the earth. Understood, children? In our next class we'll just proceed with the some of the writing parts or some of the question answers. Until then, thank you.